This how you know you in the will of God though, because when you're doing it in your assignment, you gonna be nervous.
Yeah,
because you're not doing it out of your own will. So.
Like I said that on my first episode. I said, y'all, this is not because Dayla want to be up here and say this. This is not Dayla's choice. This is something that I heard and was like, all right, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
We out here. You push.
You lead, God. I'll follow the way. Listen, I understand wholeheartedly.
But that's literally what this episode is about. When I thought of you, I already knew I wanted you on here.
Yeah.
That was off rip. But when I was thinking about what we would talk about, because I always feel like it has to at least come from one topic.
Yeah.
I know it's going to go to other things, but it got to at least come from a topic. And I was like, of course, we could just talk about the one thing we're both going through right now.
Yeah.
Because we know that we both feel, of course, it's not the same journey. It's not the same way, but we feel the same emotions.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just like, I'm about to just talk about it. Talk about what does it mean to be one of the voices of the generations.
Woo!
Because this is from the ones that I've known already, like Frankie. Yeah. Me and Frankie literally grew up in church together. Not the same church, but our church fellowship together so much. Yeah. So I've watched Frank. I've seen him from when we were kids. He saw me from when we was kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? My big brother. The fact that he's my big brother, he's in my life. But it's like his voice is way different from my voice because he didn't grow up in church like I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up the way he did. So it's like the mission is the same. You're still helping people. Yeah. You're still doing what God wants us to do. You're still ministering in a way, but it looks different. Yeah. So it's like, and then from us, we met, like 4 or 5 years before really meeting each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like really getting to know each other. So it's just like things like that I never question. Things like that I don't ever be like, because in my journey, I'm already asking enough questions.
Right.
I've asked enough questions in the journey. I don't need to ask why this is happening when I clearly know. But, yeah, sorry. What it do, real world? So it's your girl, Dayla. We are back with another episode of Gotta Have That Podcast, man. Gotta Have That Podcast. We're back.
Gotta have it.
I'm blessed to be joined by someone who is very, very dear to my heart, someone that's very close to me. Yeah. My sis, I was about to say my good sis. I don't really talk like that. But my sis, Catalina Payne, heavy on the pain. Heavy on the pain, pushing pain. You know what I'm talking about? Conversation.
I'm so excited to be here, sis.
I'm glad.
You don't understand how much it means to me. And I hope you know, like, sincerely and dearly, I stopped everything. When you text me, I told everybody, don't talk to me on April 20th because I'm going down to see my sis. I'm going to be a part. And so thank you.
I'm so glad. I told you was literally in the lineup. I'm like, okay, I know I want sis. Yeah. You was like the first, if not the second person. Yeah. I mean, the second, if not the first person, but I'm sure you were the first that I like, sis, listen. Yeah. I don't care when we have to record it, what we got to do, but I know that I want this. I know, because everything that I do in this journey, like, it's stuff my heart has to be in it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's like the agreement I feel like me and God have when it comes to it. Like, it's going to be something you care about. You get to, do it with your heart. You get to do something that you love to do, even if you don't know you love it this much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let me handle that part, but you just have to, open your heart. So I do want to go back. I want you to give your story, give a bit of your story of, like, what got you here in this moment of being able to and being open enough to talk to the young women that you talk to minister the way that you minister, you know what I mean, to do the events that that you put your foot on and walk by faith on, you know what I mean. What got you there?
What got me there? What got me there was being a little troubled girl, dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of not knowing my identity, growing up in dysfunction. That I believe that was the root of what got me here. Because I always tell people, in order to actually know the hand of God, you got to go through some stuff to be able to depend on him. Yeah. So I feel like my life has literally been like, my childhood was a lot of trouble, and I had to learn how to depend on God. And I'll say it's nobody else but him is the reason that I'm here today, standing. Suicide, a suicide victim. they told me I had bipolar I was bipolar at 12, like all of these diagnoses and all of these things, but I'm standing here in my right mind. I'm standing here free, whole, living life. Life is not perfect, but I'm on assignment, sis. And so to answer that question, nobody but God is what got me here. But there was a lot of things that I had to go through to build my faith, to build my solid foundation. Like I said, I dealt with suicide, again, dysfunction, and just all of those things kind of played a part and gave me that fire to say, listen, there's somebody else that is going through the same thing. There's somebody else that, went through the abuse, went through not wanting to listen to your parents. So you end up with a guy who's a lot older and who's very abusive. We've all been in these spaces and done things. And so I can say literally nobody but God is the reason I'm standing here today.
That's
yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. That's all. Nothing else. That's all I can say. Nobody but God.
There's so many things to even enhance to go into, like from your answer, because I think that's what a lot of us come from. Yeah. That like, and I think it takes a special connection, a special relationship with God to have that pivot point. Yeah. To have that point where you're like, I can't be the only one that goes through this. Because for a long time you do feel like you're the only one. Absolutely. And even after you have that realization, like, oh, I'm not the only one, I gotta lead for somebody else. Even when God shows you that part and you're like, fine, okay, cool, you accept it, you still have those times where you're like, but dang, am I the only one? Yeah. And it's like you have to get yourself back sometimes. You have to really have that moment. Yeah. And like, yeah. Because with how I got here was, again, a lot of the same thing. Yeah. It was a lot being younger. I feel God put me in a certain type of storyline that he knew somehow me, the person that he designed to be in the storyline, the character he created, he knew that I was going to go about it the way that I did in order to really be able to look back at it like, oh no, I had to like stand somewhere else. I had to stand. I keep saying stand 10 toes, not 8. You can't have 2 toes off of this because you will fall. You can't have just one leg. You got to have all 10 toes. You have to really, really stand. I know that's a saying that we say a lot and we take it as a joke or whatever, but it's like for real, you really had to stand up and like stand firm, even use your hands sometimes because you might wobble, but you can't buckle your knees. Listen. And I remember the day that I really, really went for it. Yeah. When I looked myself in the mirror and spoke to a version of Dayla that probably disconnected at like teenage years at some point. So I had to talk to her, the person, the side of me that was connected to the childhood me, for me to still purely be who I am. Yeah. So I don't follow the influence that tries to come my way. Yeah. But still have them understand that we are this person now. And this person got us here. So everybody needs each other. You know what I mean? Because we can easily fight ourselves.
Absolutely. And I want to chime in on that. So I'm actually with my Bible Girl group. I'm actually teaching and like just taking week by week to talk about healing and forgiveness. Because we think when we come to God, we have to be something that we're not. Yeah. We want to come and it's almost, I'm walking in shame. Right. Like he doesn't already know who you are. Right. Like he doesn't already know what you've come from. Right. And I remember when I came to God, I think, I went up there at like 12, but actually getting saved and saying, Jesus, I accept you as my Lord and Savior. I was 16 years old. And I remember that time, at that period of my life of being like, okay, I'm going to pray about the good things. Right. And I'm going to say, thank you, God, for the good things. But the bad things that I struggle with, I don't want to involve you in. Yeah. Because I feel shame. Yeah. Right.
Like, let's not even talk about that.
Right. So for you to say that, you had to look back at the younger Dayla is so important because we like to miss that part. We like to dismiss dismiss that part or move past that part. And in order to truly grow, I gotta face who I was.
Yeah.
I gotta go forgive her for the stuff that she allowed.
Right.
I gotta go tell her it's okay, even though you were not protected by the people that were supposed to protect you.
Right.
And I gotta say, listen, all right, now I'm gonna pick you up.
Yeah.
Right. So that we can keep it moving, because we like to just leave the old behind and not really do the work.
Right.
I can't just say like I'm being transformed and I'm not really being nothing's being shifted.
Yeah.
Nothing's being changed. Nothing's being transformed. So I love that, because I'm literally in that season of teaching, like, listen, we got to do the steps and we got to stop trying to rush the process.
Literally.
You cannot rush God. In order to be a disciple, you got to put in some work.
Yes.
Any story in the Bible, Job, Paul, anybody that we've seen, it took time. And so we try to rush the process, and I want to be healed and I want to be whole and I want to be all of this today. Ain't no fruit in that.
No.
Ain't no fruit in that.
No.
So I love that you said that, because that's a lot. I see that all the time. People like, I'm good and da. No, you ain't went through the process yet. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You just bypassed
Being
it.
good is going through the bad.
And then that trauma shows up in every conversation, every relationship, every friendship, and you wondering why it's shaky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to add that.
Yeah,
I felt that in my spirit.
Yeah, that was a wonderful do what you did. So I want to ask, how long did it take you to actually go for it, to actually, get to, start what you heard God telling you to start?
Oh God. How long did it take?
Because that journey in itself is.
So I want to say something, because I got to start here, right?
Go ahead.
So when I was 19, I started a nonprofit.
Okay.
God did not tell me to start a nonprofit. God told me the vision was to bring young women together so that they could be closer to him. That's what he told me.
Okay.
And because we step outside and we want to, because it wasn't that he didn't tell me, that the nonprofit was supposed to happen.
Right.
But that's not the command that God gave me.
Right.
So the nonprofit was laid on my heart to do, like I said. But when God gave me the bringing young women together, I was 18 years old. So the nonprofit seemed easier to do, but it wasn't obedience. And it took me until I think I was actually like 21. I had the nonprofit for 2 years, and I was just doing donation drives, this and this. But I didn't want any really togetherness, because I didn't want to be seen.
Right. Hey,
I didn't
you're
want
hitting on something.
I didn't want to be seen.
You're hitting on something.
I didn't want to, like, I got a heart. So the giving away and doing that stuff,
was
that
easy.
was good. But coming to bring young women together so that they can be closer to me. Wow. That took me, 3-4 years? Wow. And I still run from it. I do it now. I'm 23 now, y'all. And I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But you talk about the uncomfortable, like the uncomfortability. And I'm going to say this too. Before we got into healing and forgiveness, God would not let me not talk about being comfortable. Like, he would not let me not talk about it. For 3 months, when I started her Bible Girl group, we were talking about covenant versus comfort. Passion versus comfort, covenant versus comfort, commitment versus comfort. And God would not let me let that go.
Wow.
Because when we come to him, we want what feels good. He gave me the command at 18.
Right.
I said, okay, I'm going to go the easy route.
Right.
I'm not going to go the obedient route.
Right.
And it makes me think about Abram, y'all. You know the story of Abram. If not, Abram and Sarai. This is before they become Abraham and Sarah. He tells Abram, I'm going to send you out, right? I'm going to send you away from your family. You may never see them again, but where I'm sending you to, you're going to be prosperous. You're going to be blessed,
right?
But you may never have access to the old.
Right.
And it made me think about that, because when we come to God and when he gives us commands, we want to go with the easy route.
Right.
My flesh, when I was reading this too, like my flesh, if I was in a position that Abram was in, I'd have been like, all right, so just even with the nonprofit or the command he gave me, I chose the easy route. What if Abram chose the easy route?
Right.
I can't go if my family can't go with me.
Because we have those moments.
I can't go if my money can't go with me. I can't go if my husband can't go with me.
Going crazy.
Right? But God will send some stuff. He'll tell you to do some stuff and nobody, and this is going to take a turn real quick, but God will tell you to do something that don't make sense to nobody else.
Nobody else.
And they looking at you like you crazy in the head.
Like,
what's wrong with her? Is she cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? It don't make sense. Look at your bank account.
Do you think you can do that?
Look at the money. You look at how you gonna have to put into this. And God, like, just go.
Just do it.
That's what he told Abram. Just go.
I didn't tell them to tell you to do it.
Just go. Because when you do it and you do it in obedience, I'll provide what needs to.
Right.
And I say that because when I started the nonprofit, nothing was jumping for the first 2 years, and I could not figure out why.
Yeah.
I was moving. I was moving with the right heart posture, but I was moving out of the will of God.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's tough.
So, to answer your question, I say 4 years. I moved. It took me 4 years to fully move in obedience, because I know God wasn't talking about no nonprofit. It's cool in the game. It's working out, right?
Right.
But he said, bring young women together.
Mm-hmm.
To bring them closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not for a donation drive. Not for and that's cool in the game. It's what we need, right?
Right.
But what I'm calling you to do, I need you to bring these young women to me.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm moving in obedience, it's working out for my good.
Yeah.
And he's getting the glory. So
yes, he is. Because like she brought up, her Bible group is a wonderful, wonderful. I'm not doing words in 4K now, so I can actually join. Yeah. I just got to make an actual, because it'd be a lot.
It's all good. My sister is busy. Okay, my girl.
I gotta make an alarm, because the night that I came, I did enjoy it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I love it, because that is what we need. Yeah. That's what we're used to. Yes. Like me growing up at church, we had that. We had lock-ins. Absolutely. And then lock-ins, yeah, they were fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were kids, but the purpose of the lock-in, and the purpose still happened. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We still had Bible studies. We still was learning about stuff. Yeah. And then I look back on the people that were teaching us, the people that God had my grandma put in place. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're in their 20s. Yeah. Mid, early, late 20s. Mm-hmm. And me being in the age range now, I'm like, I understand how y'all were probably feeling doing this. Scared. Like, why do you have me getting these little children? And then we weren't, I don't think we were bad, but we weren't the easiest kids. Listen. So it was like, you got me doing what with them? Yeah. But they did it. They never complained to us. They never complained in front of us. They just showed us love. Mm-hmm. I only see it that way because I'm in the age range. Because when you said to answer your question, I was like, question. I even ask you anything. I was having a great time. No. Okay.
Hey, y'all, this is how we do. Like when she come, we just be talking. We everywhere with it. It's cool.
I love it. Also, we just did an event together. Yeah. Didn't even know we was on the same program until we knew.
Like, wait a minute. I'm on my sister. Hold on. I love it.
Okay, so what did it look like? I guess I could split that up into a two-way. Mm-hmm. What did it look like for you personally, first person, actually saying, okay, like I get it now. I get what your message meant now. Because was it that you didn't? That's not a part of the question, but this is like a B-side. Mm-hmm. Did you even understand what he was saying to you? Or did you think you knew what he was saying?
I didn't. At first, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I didn't. And that's a lot of, when God is calling you out of something, it don't make sense sometimes to our fleshly mind. The Bible tells us that, God can do the unthinkable, the unimaginable. So he's not worried about if our flesh can understand what he's talking about. Right. He needs you to get in line so he can show you. Right. So no, I didn't understand it first. And like I said, people see Catalina and you think I'm a people person. Yeah. You think I talk all the time. you think I'm bubbly. But really, the most introvert like to be in my space. Yes. Like to be in my corner. Yes. I love to encourage people. I love people. Right. But I love my space. Yeah. I love my quiet time. Yeah. So what God was calling me out to do was against the grain,
right?
Right? It was against what I thought Catalina was. And I'm gonna tell you something. Everything comes full circle, and I'll say this: the reason I became an introvert was because of my trauma. I grew up in a household. I was the third child. My brother was, so it's 7 years between me and my brother.
Okay.
He was the baby. He was the baby for 7 years. Whatever you wanted, that was you. That's, and which is understandable.
Right.
So growing up, it was always kind of that, like, I'm, this my mom, or you done came in and took my place. Like, I didn't ask to be here, but I love you so much, but that was that. And so they used to be like, oh, she talks all the time, y'all. From the age of like 3, I could tell a story. Like, not a lot, but like, just God would put something in me, and I didn't even understand at that time, but like, it would just be something, and I would just love to talk. But growing up in my household, it'd be like, she talk all the time. She talked too much. So out of shame, going back to shame, and out of trauma, from like 7 to high school, I was just very shut out. I didn't want to be around people because I didn't want them to think, oh, she talked too much. She did, she that. But one thing about God, sometimes your purpose is attached to your pain.
Yes, it is.
My pain was that I felt embarrassed. I felt shameful because they felt like I talked too much. But God turned that whole thing around and said, I'm going to use your voice to now go out and tell people about my goodness and my glory. And I think when it comes to, like you said, did I understand? I didn't. But it's not, in that moment, it's not for us to understand, because God first got to pull us out of some stuff. So for us to even understand, right? I was still in it. So when he gave me at 18, I was still I just came out of it, just met my husband for real. I'm just left an abusive relationship. So I'm right here. And that's the thing. God will give you a command when you're not ready for it.
Yes.
Because he'll get you ready.
He be eons ahead.
Yes.
He be like, bro, I used to think about that as a kid.
Yes.
That's what that is?
Yes.
That's why I was doing that? That's why I was that child?
At 12 years old, God planted in my spirit, and I didn't even understand it was God. I used to just see visions of me running like this building. I used to tell my husband this when I first met. What God gave me at 12 was me running a building with women, young girls, not older women, young girls with domestic violence. Abuse situations, verbal, girls that were broken, coming to this place,
and that's before us doing you was nothing. Even going through that.
That was 12. Yes, that was 12. I seen this, and and you know how you know it's God, because it won't leave your brain.
No,
it will not leave your brain. At 12, that's 12. Over 10 years ago. Yeah, and I still remember that.
That's crazy.
So that. Yeah,
that's true though. You never forget.
It won't leave
what
you.
It is.
It will not let you. It won't turn you loose.
No, I don't care what I have done in life, because I feel like I've lived a lot of lifetimes.
Yeah,
and it just be like, even through all those lifetimes, certain things I be like, I know. Yeah. Or even when I get an idea now, because I started praying for ideas. Like, okay, I know you want to give me ideas, but I have to. I don't have to give you that access because you're God, but I have to give you that access to let you know.
I'm inviting you in.
Yes.
I'm inviting you in.
Exactly.
Yes.
And once I learned that he actually wants us to do that, that gave a better understanding to who you're telling me to worship. Because for a long time, it was kind of that for me.
Yeah.
I worship this because I believe in that, because that's all I know.
And that is so common. That's so common.
Yeah. And that's it was so like, common. I had to really be like, no, my relationship is not their relationship.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah. I go through that with a lot of my girls now. We see God as and we should. He is on the throne.
Right.
He is, we honor him, right?
Right.
But when I gotta invite him in, like he's sitting right here in between us, because he is, right?
Right.
He's right here.
Right.
And a lot of people look at God like I said earlier, you trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for you to let him in.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel that sense of safety, because you haven't tried to invite him in your space.
Right.
And I think a lot of the times we look at God like we look at man.
Yeah.
And it's not.
He's not. He's not that.
Nothing like
he's
man.
Him.
He's nothing like me.
But okay, so going back to the question, what did it look like?
Okay.
For you, again in first person, that moment.
When he gave me the command.
No, or you saying you're actually, when you start inviting him in, saying yes to him. When you actually started stepping forward.
So that looked like a lot of praying. That looked like a lot of crying. That was a lot of God, I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. God, why me? If I can be honest.
Yeah.
I would sit in my car and just be like, why would you even plant this in my spirit? But like I said earlier, when God gives you something, it won't turn you loose. You can't sleep until you walk in obedience. And that's what it was like. A lot of nights being up with my mind just going on ideas. And so I knew it was him placing things inside of me. But it took a lot of stepping out. And that, like, people don't talk about that.
Right.
There's a process with that. Yeah. It's painful.
Yeah, like every step.
It's painful. I demise the people who get on the internet and say that it's all like it just feels good because you're lying.
No.
Stop lying to the people. It does not feel good, but it's for my good.
Yes.
It did not feel good. It was painful. I really would, and I think the enemy was getting in my brain too because he would plant those seeds like, oh, you were a girl that came from this,
right?
You were a girl that came from that. You can't talk about God. You can't. How you gonna tell people what he done? You're not worthy. You remember when you was mad at God about this? Like the enemy will do that, and that's what my process first person looked like. But it went through opening my word and starting declaring what the word said over my life.
Yeah.
Right? What does the word say?
Yeah.
I can do all things. Who gives me strength? I'm the head and not the tail.
Yeah.
So that means if I go forth, I lack nothing. You know, the Bible tells we lack nothing.
Yeah.
Lack
all
no
I
good
have to
thing.
do is walk.
Yeah. We lack no good thing.
All I have to do is walk.
So that's what it looked like. It was a painful process. It was a lot of tug of war.
Right.
But saying, okay, I'm going to step out.
Yeah.
And then when I stepped out, the enemy would try to hit me with only 2 people liking your videos.
Right.
But let me tell you something. Only 2 people was liking my videos, but I got 10 people in my inbox that done saying, hey, I needed this.
Yeah.
Not only you're speaking, but as you were talking, God was doing something in me.
Yeah.
And that's when they let me know, like, all right.
I'm doing right.
All right. When my focus is you, because I'll say this too. We are in a generation where we try to compare ourselves to the numbers. I don't know if you've been there. If not, it's okay. I have.
No,
the numbers, the likes, the this, the that, and we measure that off of our calling.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm not called to do this because only 2 people hopped on my live.
Right.
Well, the devil is a liar.
Yeah.
The devil is a liar.
Yeah.
Because maybe those 2 people that was on live could be, and the Bible tells us it just take one. Just one. Just one. So the enemy will try to use deception, is what it's called. He'll try to use deception. Yeah. He'll try to deceive you and make you feel like you ain't called and you heard the command. And he got you questioning your calling.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the space I've been in, and I say that for a reason. Yeah. Not lately, but I will say when I got into my calling and I started moving in obedience, the enemy was going to attack me everywhere. So he started. Comparison was the number one thing for me. I'm looking at people who've been doing this for a long time, and you got 1,000 likes and this and that, but you ain't got no oil and no fruit, and ain't nobody growing where you at.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it like, I want to be like that. And God said, stop looking at that because you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Some people are idolizing themselves and you're doing it for me.
Right.
You know, and so when you move in my will, I'll bring everything that needs to be brought forth. You know, when your focus is me, I love it. I'm sorry, I always got to add Bible in it because I love to live my life off the word. But I'll say, so is it First Samuel? It's either First Samuel or Acts where God rejects Saul as king. Yeah. Right? So at first Saul was going to be king. Right. But he had a prideful heart. He had a prideful spirit. And his only focus was for his gain, not God's gain. Right. And so when we're doing it out of God's gain and his, like, I'm doing this for you. Yeah. Everything will be added.
It just falls in place.
That's what the word tells us. It'll be added unto you. And so I say that because for somebody that's watching, when you get into your calling or when you start walking in purpose, it's not going to look like what you think at first. And the enemy is going to hit you with, well, I'm getting 2 likes here. I'm only getting 2 people interacting here. I'm only getting it. It's not about that. Right. When I lift up him, I'll draw all men unto me. Yeah. That's what the word says. And so I say that because I just know how the enemy do, and that's my testimony. Yeah. When I started walking in obedience, the enemy would try to hit me. Yeah. And try to plant seeds.
Because he tries when you're actually doing a little good.
Look, yeah.
When
you think it's a little,
yeah.
But God, like you stepping, that's a big move.
That is,
When you walking
right.
in obedience, that's a big move to God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
He said
You're
obedience is
right.
better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
So when I tell you something, you like, I'm scared, but I'm going anyhow. That's big, and that's why the enemy is hitting you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why he's trying to come after your mind, after comparison, because he knows that if you fully say, hey, listen, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Ain't no fear gonna stop me.
Nope.
Ain't no person gonna stop me. Ain't no Facebook likes gonna stop me. Ain't no Instagram likes gonna stop me. When you fully say that, man, you're gonna be crazy. Yeah. So that's why. Like the enemy don't attack nothing with no fruit. Go ahead, sis.
No, you're good. I was just like, just to even piggyback off of that just a little bit. Mm-hmm. That message over there. We seeing more and more why the devil mad.
Yes.
Ha!
Yes.
Let's keep it up clean.
He's big mad. Big mad.
And that's because it was a lot going on, hitting me back to back. And I'm like, I am, okay, I've stood in this enough to know that that's the devil trying me for some reason. To me, physically, I don't see why you're even...
Why are you bothering me?
Why are you even coming this way?
Little old me is what I was trying to say.
Like, I'm over here going through it already. Like, I'm my mind is on that, yes. I am walking towards that, yes. So I see that you're mad that I'm going towards God. But
you're like, I ain't even stepped in all the way yet.
Yeah, like, I'm just standing here at this point.
Yeah.
Because all I did was say yes. And it was just back to back to back. And I like to leave myself messages. As you can see, I have a little problem with
I love it. I love it.
But
I love it.
With the dry erase boards, they help me. They just, I get to get it out.
Yeah.
And then I can, if it's something that's going to stick, like when I'm writing, like that's something I wrote for my sister. By this point, she might already know about it. If not, no, she should. She'll already know about it. I'm doing that tonight. So yeah, she already know about that. But I had to write that down. But before on that, what I had on that before was like, the title was Stay Focused, but I had my plans. Well, not my plans, but the plans that God has been
giving you. Yeah.
Like, I feel I don't have a team, but it'd be like, this is the team I need right now.
You got the Holy Spirit. You got the Father. I got this right here.
We good.
Yeah.
Because you give it to me because I'm not even at the point where I'm consistent with the okay. I say it, but again, it'd be like,
I'm scared.
But what does that mean? What am I saying? Okay, what am I saying okay to? Break it down for me.
Give me a little bit more.
A little more. He's like, no. I gave you enough.
No. That's what I said. I need you to do Abram. All he said was, I'm going to send you out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send you to your own land.
Yeah.
That's all he gave him.
That's all you got.
That's all he gave him in Genesis 12.
It's up to you to say yes or no.
Are you going to ask me questions?
Yeah.
Are you going to let fear take over? Are you going to be like, all right, I'm a little scared, but I'll go anyhow.
Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself? I feel like you already answered that question, but...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And let me tell you something, too. When you're chosen, it's different.
Yes.
Because God gives you things that he'll tell nobody else.
Yeah.
He'll give you vision that, like I said earlier, it don't make sense to nobody else. And so I've never seen it before. So I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
So when the enemies do come in,
what is this?
It's like, maybe he's right. You know, that's I used to feel, well, maybe I'm not qualified. Maybe I'm not chosen.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I can't lead people. The devil is a liar. That's why I've learned. I'm in a space now where when something goes on in my life, I just try to apply the word. Because when our minds, like, will deceive us for real.
It really
it will talk you out of your calling, out of your blessing, out of your everything that God done told you to do. And I don't want to be in that space.
No.
And I used
not a good space to be in.
Easily like, all right, I'll sit down.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
I'm good.
Somebody else do it.
So, because we done already talked about or brought it up, walking in faith. Well, basically, this whole conversation is really about walking in faith and what that's looking like, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember your first time, like ever, not even in this side of the journey of where you're actually walking, but just hearing about it, learning about it here and there, and actually making a little step, like
a faith?
Yeah. So, for example, a quick story. When I was in middle school, Northwest Ace. Shout out to my Falcons. That's what we were, right? Yeah, Falcons. Okay.
Well, he's over like
but this was my 7th grade year, and we've already talked about this year. This is a very traumatic year for me.
Yeah.
Right. And my mom is talking about switching schools. Like, I already done told my friends I'm possibly not coming back next year. I already know this. And she's trying to get me to another school. And I have no say-so in this, of course. Whatever mama says. It's mom. Yeah, I can't go against that. And at this point, again, I grew up in church, literally from the day I was born up until. So I remember I'm hearing about faith. I'm being taught about faith and how it don't make sense to you. I'm learning that, and I'm growing up fast, so I understand it more than in probably my typical age range, right? Anybody else. So I'm like, okay, I had $5. I don't know where I got the $5 from. Had $5 in my pocket. It was a service like during the summer. And I was at the back of the church, and I'm just sitting there, and I just hear put the $5. It's my only $5. I have no other money coming my way at all. In 7th grade, ain't too much to do.
Been there.
Grandma probably gave me the money for cleaning up over the weekend. Possibly. I'm assuming that's where the money came from. And I just remember looking at the $5, and something in me was saying, put the $5 in offering. It's offering time. Put the $5 in offering. Like, it's a random service. It's not even Sunday service. Like, it's a random service. Or it might be like a evening service on Sunday. Either way, put the $5 in. And you'll go back to the school. Well, that's what I knew I was putting it in for. There's no other way to get me back to the school. But my mine is set. I said, but God, this is my first. Right. Okay, if I put this, because I do want to keep the $5. I wanted that $5.
I could go to, what was popping back then? McDonald's?
Cookout is $5 a tray.
Come on, man, what?
I can eat tonight.
I can get
and I don't got to ask them for no money. I already got my money.
I got McDonald's money.
You feel me?
I had it.
But I was like, going back to the school was way more important to me than a meal that night. The people I had at my school was way more important to me than a meal that night. That connection I had, that freedom I had at school, that was way more important to me. So I'm like, okay, God, if I put this $5 in, I know on my mind, that's what I'm putting it in for. I don't even want money back.
Right.
I don't have to get money to next weekend when I clean again. But today, that's what I'm going to put it in for. I put it in, and it was like later on in the summer or whenever, my mom, I guess she missed the deadline or something to be able to put me into another school. I don't know what happened that year. What happened? But I ended up back at school that 8th grade year. I said, oh, shoot. My $5
Look at that $5 did it.
Okay, so I know this part is true. I know if you actually do something that you don't want to do for real. Okay, I know that means you working toward it. So that's why I said, what's
the first I can remember. Oh God, you talk about middle school. Okay, I got a story.
I mean, you ain't got to go all the way back there.
No, I want to go to middle school too.
Because I feel like with our lives, we did stuff that we're doing now. We're doing it now in a different light because our relationship is different. Let me put my phone. But even when we did it then, we had some type of, because like I said, I was being taught about it then. I'm hearing about it enough to know that's what I'm doing. I'm putting the $5 in because this is what I'm needing. And God knew I needed that. It wasn't just something Dayla wanted, but that connection I had there was unexplainable. And that's what I based all my friendships, any type of relationship I grow outside of. Even if I call you family, I take that serious. So it's like when I have that connection where we don't remember how we met, or we remember how we met, but we don't know why or understand why we're this close. That's because I had those relationships then. And it was like, I need that. If I go to any other school, I'm going to... I know it was going to be probably worse than it was, you know?
No, I love that. Oh, God. So, as you were talking, I got this flashback. So, I was in 6th grade. Me and this girl went to elementary school together. So, she was, as I would call her, my bully. That's what I used to call her. But one day in 6th grade, she was being bullied by somebody else. So
you say you're a bully?
She was my bully in elementary school. We were in 6th grade. She was being bullied by somebody else. I witnessed this whole play. Was gonna go mind my business. I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or just something, but literally I kept hearing, you need to go talk to her and you need to go defend her. I went home that next day. I went home. I told my mom, I was like, Ma, the girl so and so, I'm not gonna say that, but the girl so and so,
because you know who you are. No, I'm just playing.
No, I was gonna say, and she's actually part of my Bible group now.
Oh, that's
so
crazy.
You want to talk about the glory of God?
Oh, that's
You'll
crazy.
turn something
Does
around.
she know that you knew that she was a bully?
Of course she does.
Because sometimes they be like, I didn't even know I was hurting your feelings. Like, no,
no.
You threw me in that dumpster. You knew exactly what it did to me.
I wouldn't say like that. She just was going through a lot at home. I said, I ain't gonna say nothing. The next day, the girl tried to like fight her at school. So I stepped in. And I was like, you need to leave her alone before we beat you up.
That's what I'll talk about. Yeah.
And the other girl was just like, well, so I say this, it was more to it, but something was planted in my spirit that I needed to step up for this girl.
Right.
I'm like, ain't no way I'm stepping up for the girl that's been mean to me for 4 years in elementary school. Don't like me. She talk about my hair, talk about this, and my white and my black and my like that kind of stuff every single day.
Yeah.
But then that changed the whole trajectory. In that moment, you know, she was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And for me, that was a small glimpse of faith.
Yeah.
But I think it was also how when we step out on faith, sometimes we back and forth.
Yeah. For sure. I was definitely looking at that 5 like
you said.
I need to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I said I love
my
folks,
that moment though.
But
you still did it.
Yeah.
It took me 3 days.
Oh, well.
So I was like,
but
I'll say for me, that was the first time that I can remember, and I'm sure it was probably something before, but that I can remember where stepping out on faith did not feel good, but it worked for my good.
I'm just thinking of how hilarious it is. Like, well, not hilarious.
It's hilarious.
That was a lot, though.
It was
because being bullied is not easy.
It's not.
So for you to tell me to take up for this person, not even this specific person, but just in general, for me to take up for this person because now they're getting their karma, I would have thought that was karma. Like, she got exactly what she deserved because she was messing with me.
But guess what?
I'm God's favorite.
Guess what?
But no, he's like,
that's not the kind of God we serve.
No, it's not.
And that's what we teach people nowadays. That false, everything now is about your haters.
Yeah.
And God, like, I love your haters too.
Right. And I want you to love them.
And I think that's why early on, like, I just want to add this. Early on, God gave me this, like, I could not hold on to stuff. I always used to, like, and I used to feel bad, like, why do I just want to move past everything? And we have to learn how to move past stuff in a healthy way. But when I say everything comes full circle,
it does.
God will make you minister to the very people.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm a living witness of it.
Yeah.
People that wrote me off, people that did stuff to me, family members, and now they come to me.
Let's not even talk about that.
Yeah, now they come to me. Can you pray for me?
Yeah,
of course I will.
Yeah,
of course I will. But it takes a lot. That's why I say, not skipping any of the process.
Yeah,
because Lord, I used to be like, why did you put them in my spirit?
What?
Why? And he's like, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than, I need people to see.
It really be bigger than you.
And that's what he don't care. Like, people try to, and I know when you're going through it, it's like, God, you seen what they did to me. And he does.
Yeah.
People can't just get away with just treating you anyway.
Yeah, no.
But he does love them.
Yeah.
He died on the cross for them.
Yeah.
He paid the price for their sins. He can use them just like he using you.
And you know, attesting, I don't know if I was about to say that right, but adding to that, or piggybacking off of that.
Yeah.
The other week, right? I'm being an adult it's exciting and dreadful at the same time.
God. I wish I would have never said I can't wait to be 18. I take it back.
It's exciting and dreadful. I say exciting because for me, I'm again on the weirder side of the scale. I like, as you can see, office supplies. I literally like planning to go to Office Depot at some point and just go crazy.
I know that's hard.
Just cause, like, I love office supplies. Not piggybacking, but going back to God giving you the vision of having that building.
Yeah,
I've always felt some way, shape, or form I'm gonna be running something, or I'm gonna be in a office because my connection to an office is weird. Yeah, even for me. Like, why do I? As a basketball player, I was an athlete in school, a student athlete, and I like office supplies. Like, you know, not even just to sit at the desk, but to have some type of building, some type of whatever. But anyway, going off of that, right? Like I said, on the weirder side of the scale, it's like, well, honestly, I lost it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I started talking about office supplies and got distracted.
It's all good. It's all cool. It's all good.
I'm not gonna cancel. I was like, yeah, office supplies. I'm like, what did I even start talking about the office supplies for?
Yo, real, yeah, live and real. Let's go.
That's funny.
Let's go.
All right.
Anyway. What you got next one?
Yeah, back to it. So, where do you think your determination came from?
Oh God. I say overcoming. And I need to break that down. So where did my determination come from? Learning how to overcome challenges. That's where it came from. I say this and I said it before. God put me in a place where I could not depend on anybody else. When it came to my suicide, I tell people all the time, I tell my story about how it was like my third time trying to commit suicide. I went to the psych ward, and I was laying in the bed, and I literally heard the voice of the Lord tell me that you will never be the same again. That for me was my wake up call. And I say that because nobody got me out of that suicide but him.
Right.
When I was in an abusive relationship, nobody, and when I say nobody got me out of that but him, because I was already, like, I was back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I was back and forth, but it was literally the Lord telling me, you're gonna die in this if you don't go. That is what pulled me out. Not my mama, not my daddy, not him, not me. Yeah. That is what pulled me out. So the fire, the determination that I have is because I had nobody to depend on but me and God.
Yeah.
And I said that to my husband about 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week. I was put in positions in situations in my life where I could not ever say somebody did something, because then they will get the glory for something.
Yeah.
And God is the only one that has done that. So that fire came from all right, it's me and him.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like I was in the lion's den.
For sure.
All right, when I'm gonna come out? But guess what? He pulled me out every time. And that's still my testimony today. I got a fire and I got a hunger, and I want to do what God has called me to do so that he can be pleased, because he pulled me out when nobody else did.
Yeah.
When I was all alone. And I know some people say that it's cliche, but it was literally my testimony. Can't nobody else take the credit for nothing. You know what I'm saying? The small things. Thank you, husband, for giving me that.
The stuff that they did for real.
Yes. But as far as the God give me the word, walking into new seasons or new phases of my life, all of that was God. Nobody else. All of my traumatic stuff was him.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why I got the passion. That's why I got the fire. That's why when I get on, forget the internet. That's why when I'm talking to people, I want you to feel my soul.
Yeah.
That's why when I'm talking to a girl that's dealing with domestic violence, depression, I want you to feel my soul.
Feel where I'm coming from.
Because I want you to know that it was nobody with him.
Yeah.
And we're in a generation where we like to look for resources, outside things.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to the source. That's why I have that fire. That's the only way I can answer that question. I don't know how else to put it.
That was beautiful.
That's the only way I can.
That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So we have a segment.
Okay.
And it's called Gems.
Ooh.
Any key advice that you have? I mean, from what we talked about, if it's something that's just on your spirit, if it's whatever, just key advice coming from Catalina.
Oh God. Give it to me, Lord. I will say, run at your own pace. I feel like a lot of the times we are in a generation where we operate off of impulsiveness. We operate off of fastness. I need it right now.
Right.
I need it in the moment. I need it to come today.
Yeah.
I need my blessing today. I need to be healed today. I need my breakthrough today. I need this relationship today. Right? And God is saying, just go at your own pace. Don't go off the social media lights. Don't go off what you see on social media and everybody else doing, because sometimes them people ain't even happy. Go at your own pace. And another thing is that we all have a purpose. We all have something. And I want to speak directly to somebody that may be enduring depression, suicide, not feeling good enough. I want to speak to your soul today, and I want to tell you to get up out of that grave and let God use you in whatever aspect that he desires to use you in.
Yeah.
The enemy wants to play with your mind because there's something greater in you. And so that's why they always say that the greatest attack is our mind.
Yeah.
Because when he starts with your mind, he can creep down everywhere else.
Yep.
When he starts with your mind, he can creep in your relationships. He can creep in just in your job, whatever. And so train yourself in those moments to say, I know I have purpose. I know God did not put me on this earth for nothing.
Right.
I know that's just not the God he is. Yeah. That's not his nature.
Yeah.
He wants to use us. He gives us gifts so that those gifts can be literally drawn, back to him, so they can be used for his glory. And so if I leave you with nothing else, run your own race, go at your own pace, and remember that there is something so much, like there's so much more on the inside of you, and there's so much more that God wants to do in you, and it's going to take time.
Oh, that's beautiful. This is just beautiful altogether. That's good. Honestly, I don't even think I should say anything after that. But not something that I've said before, but that I feel is very important. Appreciating your baby steps. Appreciating the steps that you do take. Yeah. Because even though earlier, it was one of them, I said it, didn't purely even think about what I was saying for real until you was like, no, it's not little though. Because it's not.
It's not.
It's not the step, because again, you go through a lot with just saying yes. You go and just because you say yes don't mean, which is why I asked how long it took for you to even do it for real. Because when you say yes, that is not the same day that you started. Woo. Because then you realize how scary it is. So appreciate your baby steps. I feel like that's something that we as society especially don't even pay attention to. We like to look at the overall. We like to look at the big lights. We like to look at what everybody is looking at, and we don't pay attention to the little light. I started thinking the other day, because again, I get awkward on here sometimes. I don't whether it's ending it, starting it off. Like it was wonderful today because I'm talking to my sis. So that was easy. We good. But on me by myself, oh my gosh,
it's all right.
Oh boy, but okay. I said that to say like. The baby steps, it's enough. You know what I mean? Because even with that baby step, you learn what not to do, you learn what to do. So then you go to the next step, and that's not so baby anymore. That's your second step. Just like when we get older, we learn things. So then with what you learn, you go into the next relationship with, even the bad things you learn, and you might be, toxic a bit, or you might be, hold offish because you don't know who this, I just came from that, so I really don't know what you want. But when you start learning that person, then you take what you learned from that. Okay, just don't let them do that to you. And then they only can do that to you because you did this to yourself. And I'm not there no more, so you're not going to be able to. Just learning different stuff. So appreciate your baby steps. And then the last segment is called Ayo. So this is everybody. We all like to ask ourselves, what would you say to your past you? What's something? But we switched it up.
Okay.
What would you like to say to your future you?
Oh my God.
This is like a future you, maybe 5 to 10 years. So we don't have to go too far, but in your next 5 to 10 years, it could be a question, it could be a statement, or just, a word or anything. What would you like to say to your future you?
My future you, I want to tell you that you are qualified. That's all. You're qualified. Simple. You are qualified for what God is, where you're going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
And don't let the devil talk you out of what God has already told you you're qualified for.
Straight like that.
That's it. That's all.
Straight like that. Yeah. I like that. That's tough. Thank you, sis.
I love you so much.
I love you.
I'm so glad we got to do this.
You, man.
Y'all, you don't know. you don't know. You don't even know. I want y'all to look at her, because in 5 years, and I try not to do this stuff because everybody say that when I say stuff, it do become true. But it is. And I want it to come true.
There's nothing.
In 5 years, y'all will see this woman around the world. I speak it.
Thank you, sir.
And I decree and declare by faith, because you're doing something, and I'm sure it's very uncomfortable. I know. I've been in your seat. I'm still in your seat. I know how uncomfortable it is. But there is something in you, like, greater than Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
Greater than Durham, greater than North Carolina, you know, and you have a story and you have an authenticity. Like, you don't try to be nobody else. You show up like, bruh, this is me. This is what you're gonna get. It's all cool in the get, you know. And I love that because we need that in today's time. We don't need people trying to be nobody else. And so that the fact that you get to be you, show up as you, do this, and like you said, it'd be awkward. Oh well, you're doing it out of obedience. And so I just believe that God is gonna. There is a magnitude of what God wants to use you in. So
I definitely
just want to say that.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
Real world, it has been a pleasure today, man. It has been a big, huge pleasure. Make sure you stay tuned in.
Yeah.
This is Gotta Have That Podcast. I'm your host, Dayla. This is my guest,
Catalina.
You dig. I want y'all to always stay real.
Yeah.
Stay yourself. That's stay real, but you know, stay yourself, man. Stay positive. Stay up.
Yes.
And most of all, y'all already know it. Say it with me. Stay royal.
Stay royal.
See ya.
Love y'all.
Hey, yo, Ren, turn that up.